Hey everybody, welcome to Church with Jess. That's me, volume 16. I literally feel like I was just sitting here talking to you guys, but I guess it's been a week since then, so here we are. Another week just flown by. Does anybody else just feel like, the days and the weeks and the months are just flying by so fast. So crazy. But anyways, so this week I kind of wanted to continue talking about complacency, which I was talking to you guys about last week. I just still had some more questions, just with the way things are right now, and just seeing things, I try to really limit my time on social media, unless it's for a business matter or something, but I do see, what's being said and what's going on out there. So it's just very interesting to me. And I always do my readings after meditations. It's super important to clear your mind and try to focus on specifically what you're trying to gain clarity on. So as always, I just had, so many questions, to try to narrow down. But what I really truly want to know is, why are people so eager to comply even when there is literal proof that we've been lied to again and again? At what point in the human life cycle do we forget that we have free will? Why are we all of a sudden so concerned with other people's health, yet the idea of universal health care has been so controversial? Why are humans so eager to be blindly led by other humans instead of seeking truth? Why do we so easily swallow what is fed to us all of our lives? So those are just kind of the thoughts that have been running through my head this week. And when you think about it, you realize that conditioning and brainwashing really starts from infancy on, so that's why not everybody is awakened, because when we're taught these behaviors all our life, we become accustomed to them, and we believe them to be truths, and it's really hard to even have a desire to break free, because I think most people don't even realize that, that's the case. So, but, it's happening all day, every day, from the time you were born, just forever. Anyways, so why are we so eager to comply? We think if we just comply, we're doing a good job, good for us. We get a pat on the back. We're contributing to the greater good, this greater good that everybody's talking about. And to be honest, when I hear people talking about this greater good, I immediately picture Grindelwald. He was all about the idea of the greater good, and he was evil. One of the most evil wizards of all time. His idea of the greater good was unjust and immoral, yet people followed him. And I think it's easy to hype people up. You can get anybody excited about anything, really. And people will, monkey see, monkey do, and it's like an infectious disease. If you've ever gone to a show, a production, and been in an audience, a studio audience. You know, they send out a hype guy to get the audience like riled up, super excited, you know, for the show. So, you know, when they're told to applaud, like they're going crazy because they have all this energy. Yeah, it is all energy. We are all energy. And I need to stop saying anyways, we're all energy, and you know, energy, we can create energy and transfer it on to something else, you know. So when somebody's like super excited and, you know, is passionate about what they're excited about, then they can infect other people with this excitement and this energy, and in turn, and it spreads just like an illness, a virus, you know. It's you know, that person infects the person next to them, and then the person next to them, and the person next to them. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's moral or right. It's just, you know, an idea that somebody made you believe. So yeah, it's just something that I've been thinking about, you know, and maybe some of you have been thinking about that as well. Just as all these ideas are coming out, and, you know, we see all the shame going on to people who don't comply and conform. I was reading an article that my sister sent me by Kelly Brogan, MD, she says, who decides what the greater good is anyways? And then just a quote was, obedience is not a virtue, which I thought was awesome, and it's so true. A virtue is something that is morally good. And who, like, decided that being obedient and, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you're saying. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll do whatever you say. Like, who decided that was a morally good thing to do? You know, it's why does a certain percentage of the population get to decide what is popular, or I guess, you know, what becomes popular is just what it's spread just like any other energy. It's something that we're fed, a lie. It might be a lie, it might be a half-truth, it might even be a truth, but it's just something that gets spread around, and people latch onto it and they will repeat it, and then somehow that becomes the norm. And if you're not following this norm, then you're out of line, and automatically you're seen as, you know, a bad guy. You're seen as not caring about other people, and it's not really fair, because, you know, one person's greater good idea of the greater good might not be the same as the person next to them. And just talking about the whole, like, you know, why do we all of a sudden, like, care about everybody else's health, when the idea at one time, and still the idea of universal health care is, like, so controversial. You know, it's like, why do you get to pick and choose, like, when that matters and when it doesn't matter? And she said in the article, when we help others, it should be organic, naturally flowing from our cup to theirs without being forced or coerced. And I think that is so important. Helping others is something that just organically flows from you. It's not something that somebody should somebody make you do? And when we shame people who aren't complying with popular opinion, we forget a huge aspect of total health and well-being, which also includes mental health. So why does one aspect of health matter so much, but the other is completely neglected? Why do the masses sound like robots spouting off learned rhetoric? I often just feel that especially when I go on social media, really any social media platform, is just seeing the chain of coming from the powers that be, will say whatever, government, media, whatever, the puppet masters, it's like it's being filtered in and then absorbed by who they know it's going to get absorbed, so they filter it out. It's absorbed in and it's spewed back out. And it's interesting to watch that and just see, it's like drones, or I don't know, like the clones in Clone Wars. Like, it's just all the same. It's like everybody's exactly the same and saying the same thing, which they're told from this source that they somehow have decided that they trust, and they trust to tell the truth, based on not sure what, because that's just how it is, what you're told to believe. People aren't really researching any of these ideas. They're just spewing them back out. So anyways, my point with all this is just, do your homework, do your research, don't, I've said this before and I have to say it again, don't just believe everything you hear, everything you read, everything you see on TV. Turn off the TV for a while. You don't need it. You really don't. So just just breathe and just I don't know, just step outside of everything for a minute and try to meditate and just be somebody who seeks the truth and doesn't just take something for what it is. If you see something and you want to know more, then go out and research it. And remember that there's, things are multifaceted, and, don't just research what you want to be the truth. Like, research all aspects and form your own truth and your own ideas about what you think is the truth for you. So I think that's so important, is just to always question everything. But if there's something you don't understand or you want to know more about, then always go and research it. Research different opinions, so that you can form a well-rounded one. So anyways, I got off on a tangent, as I always seem to do. So let's get into, we're back on the Peace Oracle. And I just did a 2-card spread today. That's just like what I was feeling. And for the 2-card spread, basically the first card, represents, on the left-hand side, represents like the subconscious and what is hidden, what is not presenting itself, but is kind of embedded within us. And the right-hand card, is responding to our conscious awareness, like things that we're totally, completely aware of, within us, or outside of us. So basically, yeah, it's a simple reading, but I think I just felt like it was right for this week. So, Buddha teas, they're my favorite teas. I'm drinking calendula tea. I love that they always have a quote. This one says, "Time moves slowly, but passes quickly." Alice Walker. Ain't that the truth? That reminds me of a Bright Eyes lyric. How time can move both fast and slow amazes me. Connor Oberst is a freaking poet, the poet of my generation. That line always got to me though, like, because it's so true, and I'm sure like you've thought about it before, how sometimes it seems like time is just flying by, they always say time flies when you're having fun, and it does seem like when the energy is good and everyone's having a good time, it's like it's over before you know it. The day's over before you know it. But when like you're dreading something, or like you're at work or school and you can't wait till it's over, and you're watching the clock and you're like, oh, time is moving so slow. But it's all time. It's all one thing that moves in a linear direction. It doesn't change. It just is. So it's crazy to think, or not crazy. I don't really like to use that term, but it's just it's an interesting concept to think about. Just how something that doesn't change can feel so different based on the energy of a situation. Something to think about. So anyways, let's talk about the stuff that's in our subconscious that we're maybe not aware of, that we might be holding onto, that needs to come out to the surface. So the card that I drew was Timeless Earth. I love the cards. I always say that. I love all my decks. They're all different. But I always just love the imagery on the cards. And it's good to, the imagery that's on the cards is intentional. And so it's good to kind of, you can meditate on it, or try to, keep that image in your mind and what it means to you. It looks like trees reflecting on water and like a sunset, maybe. So, Timeless Earth. And when all the wars are over, a butterfly will still be beautiful. Ruskin Bond. The storm it's difficult to endure, but it does bring beauty, or, it leaves beauty behind. Oftentimes after a storm, you get a rainbow. So it's, that's just, it's true. So, it's the same thing in life. It's always a cycle that's repeating itself, and nothing is forever going to be perfect. We have to go through different phases and learn things about ourselves, and then before we can transition into the next phase. So, it's just, when you go through a period of darkness, like after it's going to come a period of light. So, just remember that. If you're feeling fearful in any way, just remember who you are, and what you do for your own body, and how you take care of yourself, and just trust in that, and trust in your source. And and you'll get through the storm, and you'll come out on the other side of it. So, timeless earth. Beneath every winter, summer waits to stage its vibrant comeback. Beneath the worry, beneath the hostility, just on the other side of darkness, peace is ever growing, building, waiting to wash over us all. The trees, the stars, every drop of the ocean moves in time with the divine, as do you. It's all connected in the blanket. I Heart Huckabees. Have you watched it yet? I've talked about it like almost every week. So watch I Heart Huckabees and learn about the blanket, okay? But it is. Everything's connected. I was actually talking to my friend. I'm going to go off on a tangent, but I was talking to my friend Chris last night for a long time. And we were talking about old buildings and buildings being haunted and energy being in buildings. And I was talking to him about, we're, like I said earlier, everything is energy. Everything is made up of energy, and energy can't be destroyed. It's just transferred to other things. So if you think about, an old building that's supposedly haunted, well, think about, how long that building's been standing, and over all the years, like how many different people have moved through that space, and how many different energies have come through there. Maybe somebody was in one of the rooms and they were in a heated argument, and then that energy, transfers, into the wall or into the floor, or whatever, or, somebody's excited or crying or whatever, emotion, and that energy just stays there, and then multiply that by however many people have passed through there, and, it can get a little chaotic. So anyways, just talking about how everything is connected, the trees, the stars, the ocean, us, the moon, just thinking about just that, just reminds me of the fact that, yes, like everything's energy, and since energy doesn't die, energy doesn't go away, it's just transferred. It's like, it all just cycles. Everything's a cycle. Anyways, the divinatory meaning of the Timeless Earth card is that this too will pass, right? It's going to run its course. It's going to play itself out, and eventually we're going to be looking back on it, Some of us aren't going to survive it, but I think most of us will, and we'll look back, and we'll be talking about it in past tense, but it's just it's a cycle, it's a phase. It's something that, a cycle doesn't last forever. It's why it's called a cycle. It rotates, and it changes. So just remember, this too will pass, the light at the end of the tunnel, the rainbow at the end of the storm. So slow your pace and resist rushing ahead. There will be another day, another chance. Seek firm foundations, solid values, or a core message. Have patience. So maybe that's just something deep down that we already know, but that we're not listening to. So, I've told you before that all of the answers lie within. You already have all the answers to all of your questions if you only would search deep within yourself and be willing to go there with yourself. So just have patience and work on that. It takes patience to look inward and to reflect and to do self-work and to do, self-healing. It's really, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to really like just have a desire, a need, a calling for it. You have to listen. Always be listening, because the universe talks. It does. I get emails from it like every day. So it's awesome. You should check it out. The universe talks. Tut. Anyways, just I think it's a good time to figure out what you want and who you are and what you want to do and what you want to be, or who you're meant to be, to get to your most authentic self. Your authentic self doesn't just eat what they're fed. They go out and look for their own food, so an authentic person will seek the answers, and not just take what they're given at face value. They will educate themselves. And you're going to find a lot of things that are hard to hear when you do that. But, it's part of the process. And not everything is all rainbows and butterflies all the time. So you got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, and just be patient. It's hard. I struggle as well. And honestly, like, I'm sure if you go back and watch like some of the first episodes of church, my mindset was a lot different and a lot more chaotic, and or maybe you didn't notice, but in this kind of first part of this, I was kind of giving in to that fear that is being sold to me. I was starting to accept it and accept it as truth, and I found myself living in fear and having really bad anxiety and just thinking like, all these things in my head, until one day I was like, why am I doing this to myself? This isn't me. This isn't me anymore. My word last year, or I guess the last couple years, was fearless or fearless. And I had a giving key, which the Giving Key is a great company. There are these keys that have a word on them, and you can choose your word. A word that you feel like you need to focus on for whatever time period. And once you've kind of moved on from that word, then you like pass it on to somebody else, which I actually just gave mine to somebody else, because I didn't feel like I needed it anymore. I felt like I conquered it. So my new word is balance, if anybody's interested. But anyway, I need to get a new key. But anyways, I was like, this person is not me. I'm fearless. I take care of myself. I've been taking care of myself for years now. I've rebuilt my immune system, and I do all these things every single day. And if I don't trust in that, then why exactly am I doing those things? If I don't think that they will protect me. So I started thinking about that, and I started getting more into Kundalini yoga, and just doing some breath work. And Kundalini yoga is a very meditative practice, and it's been really just amazing in my life and life-changing. And I do it every single day. I'm on my third 40-day practice right now. So even if I don't have time for it in the morning, something, happens, I always make sure, like, when I get home before I go to bed, I do it. So I hold myself accountable, which I'm trying to get better at, because we all have to hold ourselves accountable. So, anyways, yeah. I got off on another tangent, and I apologize, but I do that, as you know. Anyways, I don't even remember what I was talking about. But, oh, yeah. So, sorry. I have so many thoughts in my head. But I was talking about just, being fearless and knowing what I'm already doing for myself. And so, yeah, just I really got myself out of that mindset. And my mental health has been so much better for it. So it's really great to be able, when you're feeling those ways, to have things to turn to that can help you focus and remember who you are. But yeah, just so I'm going to do a shameless plug of me and my sister Casey just started a new business called Poems and Potions. It's a natural health and beauty company. She kind of, I think, like, really turned me on to the natural lifestyle, natural path. And I've learned a lot from her, but over the years, she's really helped me with her, folk medicine, if you will, with rebuilding an extremely weakened immune system. I started taking things, and you take these things every day. Most of them, it depends on what it is, but my holy trinity is holy basil, astragalus, and elecampane. I've suffered from asthma, these things cured my asthma. Elecampane is one of the strongest tinctures for lung repair. Astragalus is great for building your immune system. It's an adaptogen. You can take it every single day. As well as holy basil is great for also asthma and immune system. So every day I take those. And we're always making stuff for people. She makes these amazing tinctures, and I like to make a lot of body care stuff. So we decided to kind of put that together, and our love of writing as well, to include affirmations and poems, just written by us. But anyways, this is one of our moon mists. It's inner peace. I make it with charged crystal water from a full moon. So I've every full moon I make water. So I have every different moon. I just did one 4th of July. We had a full moon. So I have some more going, and it's highly energized. I let it sit in its energy for a week, and so yeah, it's the base of our moon mist, which you can spray on yourself or in your meditation space or your sacred space. And then I have the sunscreen, which is all non-toxic, all natural ingredients. This is my lavender patchouli sunscreen. I love it. The sunscreen's really popular. Anyways, but those are just a couple of products. We also have all the tinctures that I just mentioned. We have those available as well, and much more. So definitely check us out, Poems and Potions, at Poems and Potions on Instagram. Anyways, so here's an affirmation for you about timeless earth and about, inner peace could be great to spray while you're meditating on this affirmation. Peace and calm pulse from the depths of the earth, up through the soles of my feet, into my heart and mind. I breathe deeply and slowly and connect with the rhythm of the earth. Steady, stoic, and everlasting. The earth is my home. I am safe. So, tell yourself that while you're meditating on this card and thinking about the things that you're holding on to. The fear and anxiety that you might be pushing down, and just breathe. Breathing is the best thing you can do, and I've told you some breathing techniques before, but just to refresh, a really great one that I use very often, just if you need to calm yourself down, if you find yourself upset, agitated, heated, just breathe in for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts, and breathe out for 4 counts. And then hold it at the bottom for 4 counts. And then you just keep doing that. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold it 4, breathe out 4, and hold it 4. It'll really help start to ease your mind. And it's so important right now because we lose sense of who we are and what we truly value, and what our free will is. Remember, that's something that we tend to forget that we have. So just find your calm, find your center, find your inner peace before you react to things. Allow yourself to process and to, again, do some research and try to understand what you're hearing. Make some sense of it before reacting to it, so you can come back and respond to it. It's something that we talk about a lot too, reaction versus response. So the second card, which is supposed to represent the what what you're aware of. So I chose transformation. If you want to reflect on the image, it's always trees. I love trees. I regularly hug trees. You should try it. It's really the energy of trees is just truly amazing. And if you sit against a tree, like, and align your spine with it, it's just can totally just reset your body. If you hug a tree, I think for at least 20 minutes, it will start to like calm and ease your emotions. Just make you feel a sense of peace and calm. So definitely like get out into nature. It's like super important, especially now. You have to get fresh air. It's really, really important to do that. Like, it's essential to life to have fresh air. So if you're able to get into nature in any way, shape or form, then please do it. Do yourself a favor. And for some of you who are earth signs or earth dominant, earth and water dominant chart, grounding is really essential to your well-being. Anyways, so transformation. Grounding is just kind of centering yourself with the earth, and basically like take your shoes off and be barefoot walking through the forest, and connect your energy with the earth's energy, to bring yourself to center. So transformation. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. Mahatma Gandhi. And that is so important, and it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, is how it's monkey see, monkey do, and we forget that we have free will, and we have our own mind, and we can form our own thoughts and decisions. but we tend to look to other people who, for some reason or another, have decided that we either trust or we think they're cool and we want to be like them. All of these things, in doing all these things, you're losing your authenticity. You're forgetting who you are and where you come from and why you're here. Because you become so concerned about what somebody else is doing with their own life. And it's so important to remember that we all have our own story, and we're writing it and we're living it. And when we become so invested in somebody else's story, then we become stagnant in our own, and we're not walking down the path that we're meant to walk. We're not going the direction that we're meant to go. It's a major detour, or roadblock even. Sometimes we need to turn back and go the other way. Sometimes we just need to, veer the other way. So yeah, it's so important to, and that's why, again, it's important to do self-reflection, because those answers are within you, and you'll be able to, with time and patience and meditation and deep thought and just centering yourself, you'll be able to answer some of those questions for yourself and figure out who it is that you're supposed to be, or where you're supposed to be. It's baby steps, but if you are willing to do the work, you will find the answers to these questions that you have, and they'll come. And it won't be all at once necessarily, but you start the awakening process. You start to get answers to these questions, and you start to get clarity. That's why I'm doing these readings, really, is to help all of you gain some clarity on your own lives. And I'm, this is a general reading, but it's very personal to how you relate to it. So don't worry about what other people think about it, or what it means for them, because it could mean something entirely different for you. So take it with a grain of salt. It's a personal experience, and we're all having personal experiences that because, like, if we concern ourselves so much with somebody else's journey, then it's like, when some people, I think, their whole lives will concern themselves with somebody else's journey, and they never live their own. And I think personally, like, then you just keep having to come back and relive it, or live it differently, or learn new lessons. It's part of the cycle of death and birth and rebirth, I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, just worry about you. You do you, girlfriend. The very smallest change in the way you see yourself, your place in the world, and the part you play in the unfolding story of life can create powerful waves of transformation. One simple adjustment can change everything. Transform doubt into trust, worry into peace, and our alchemy is done. And you can transform those thoughts, because thoughts are things, and we manifest. The mind is very powerful, and we are manifesting things all the time. So just changing one little thought pattern can really change your life, and I truly believe that. I have lived that. So try to just step back from yourself for a minute. Look at yourself from an outside perspective. It's just, we get very, we're used to ourselves, and the things we do and the way we are, and we tend to create just habits, you know, and we're just like, oh, well, we're just like that, you know, oh, that's just how I am, that's just how I do things. But it doesn't have to be, you know. Try to change that. I think that's like a very toxic thought pattern, is to just settle and say, oh, that's just me, that's just how I am, because that's defining yourself. And we're constantly changing and growing and learning and falling apart and becoming whole again, you know. So you know, stop yourself when you are thinking a certain way or say a certain thing, and just say, why am I, you know, why? Think about why you're doing it, and really process that and release it and learn something, and, you know, change an aspect of yourself if it needs changing. That's up to you, you know. Address the spanner in the works. Take charge and make a change, or be at the mercy of change. Act as if your desired outcome is assured. Make it so. Act as if your desired outcome is assured. Make it so. You know, that's really like the law of attraction, and you're supposed to think of things like you already have them, because you do. The universe provides, and you live your life. It's almost like, to me, that literally is what fake it till you make it means. Just act as though it already is, and it will be. Change is happening all around us, whether we like it or not. You know, everything is changing. The world is changing. The world as we know it is changing. We're in a great shift. We're in the middle of a cycle that eventually is going to end and give birth to a new cycle. But, you know, take charge and make a change, or be at the mercy of change. It's basically like, it's going to happen no matter what. So are you going to take a stand for something, or are you just going to sit back and let it happen to you? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We've all thought that, or heard that before. You know, and there's a lot of things happening around us right now. We have the power to make a change. You know, nothing great has ever happened in this world without people willing to fight for it and stand up for what they believed. So, you know, what do you believe? You don't have to believe what you're being told to believe, because remember, you have free will. Always remember that. You know, you have the power within you to make up your own mind, whether other people like it or not, or agree with it or not. You don't have to agree with people all the time. And you know, there's gonna be some people who you disagree with, who you just can't even talk about the issue with, because, you know, it's neither one of you are, you know, willing to budge or whatever. But it's always a great idea to try to see things from somebody else's perspective. You can disagree with somebody and have a healthy, intelligent discussion about it and learn something from each other. Even if you don't walk away, or even if that person doesn't walk away agreeing with you or believing what you believe, you know, they've maybe learned something from you, and you gain a mutual respect for each other, and you can walk away and have your differences, but still, you know, come back and be friends or whatever at the end of the day. So, you know, knowledge is power, and with knowledge you create, you know, intelligence. And, you know, when we suppress knowledge, we're just creating ignorance. So, yeah, just remember your own free will. And don't be afraid to disagree with somebody, and don't be afraid to stand your ground. You know, you should never be made to feel ashamed for what you believe is true, you know. And let's just remember that none of us really know the truth. You know, one day we find out, or we never do, and then we'll never know, you know. So, you know, don't be self-righteous. You know, you should never force people to believe what you believe. You can talk passionately about your beliefs, and if somebody else is interested, that's great, you know, and you go from there. But like, I just think forcing your beliefs and opinions is just, we're really good at that as humans. And it's really not fair, you know, because the mind is powerful, but it can also be very impressionable. And it can be controlled, and it can be trapped. And, you know, strength of mind is, I think, a very important quality. You know, if your mind is strong and powerful, then you have the capacity to understand when you're being played for a fool. And you can expand your mind just as you know, can lift weights and build muscle, you know. And you can do that. I mean, the best way is education, you know, and learning knowledge. Knowledge is power, and you should be hungry for it, because that's how you grow, and that's how you gain more knowledge, is by educating yourself, reading. Go to the library if you can, and check out books about whatever it is that you want to know more about, and learn, study. You know, studying doesn't have to stop when you're finished with school. And, you know, in school we learn a lot of stuff that is just a bunch of BS, that isn't really important. And, you know, I'm not saying that there's nothing valuable there, but, you know, somebody is deciding for us what we get to learn and what we're supposed to know. So it's just so important to keep having that hunger for more knowledge, and learn different things, and challenge yourself and your own ideas and ideals. You know, just look at things from all aspects, because everything's multifaceted. So back to transformation. The affirmation that you can meditate on with this card: from little seeds, great trees grow. From a little change, great change flows. I am an alchemist. I change doubt into confidence, hurt into compassion, experience into wisdom. I make powerful change. I find peace in the world, and the world finds peace in me. And it is so important to live in harmony with the world. And I'm so fidgety, sorry. I'm like the most antsy person. I cannot sit still. I'm a chef, and I work in the kitchens, and I'm used to like very fast-paced environment. I'm always moving around. It's like the perfect job for me. But anyways, yeah, I'm just super antsy, so sorry. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, harmony, live in harmony with the world and the universe. And it's just, the earth provides so much, and the universe provides so much, and we take so much for granted. You know, we just expect things to be. We're obsessed with this idea of instant gratification. We don't thank the earth for providing for us. We take and we don't really give back, you know. So please do your part in giving back. If you see trash on the ground that somebody else has left behind, please pick it up and throw it away. That to me is doing the right thing, personally. You know, you can wash your hands after, sanitize your hands, whatever, but it's just, there's so many things, especially with this new mask culture. I'm seeing used surgical masks just everywhere, in the middle of the street, in the parking lot, in shopping carts, everywhere but in the trash can, apparently. You know, and that's just like so messed up. It's so thoughtless. It's so detrimental to the earth's healing. You know, and Mother Nature gave us an opportunity to heal her, and as we're getting back into somewhat, I'm not gonna say, I don't like to use normal because like it's all relative, but I guess back to our like usual way of life, our usual existence. You know, it's like people just, a lot of people just haven't really learned anything and are still just as mindless as ever, and it's really a tragedy. It's a tragedy for our planet, you know, because I just hope enough people's eyes have been opened to the needs of our earth and that we need to treat it better. But you know, we as humans create all of these things that we think that we need, and some of them have been great for humanity, but we've created a lot of waste. We're the only species who creates waste in this way, and we have littered the earth with it. It's so important to recycle and to reuse things. Stop buying plastics. We need to stop producing so many plastics that are just ending up in the oceans and landfills. We have these giant masses of land that are literally just for our trash, for our human waste, and so much of it is so unnecessary. You know, and how much of what is going into those landfills is actually decomposing over time, eventually creating more space for more waste. You know, if things are not decomposing, then eventually that space runs out, you know, and our earth becomes like a giant landfill, and that is not what we want. It's not what we want at all. And if you want to talk about the greater good that everyone's so keen on talking about, isn't the health of our planet for the greater good and for future generations to have a healthy planet? Or are we just thinking about ourselves? You know, we're not helping anyone if we're not helping the earth. You know, even after we are long gone and coronavirus, you know, or COVID-19 and this pandemic is just in the history books, you know, the earth will keep spinning. So, and there will be so many other generations here that, you know, and what kind of earth are we leaving behind for them? Are we gonna leave the type of earth that we see in like sci-fi films, like post-apocalyptic earth? Are we gonna leave a beautiful and lush planet? You know, we want natural foods and fruits and vegetables and not, you know, so many processed products. And if we don't take care of the earth, everything's going to be made in a test tube. There's not going to be trees. We'll be living in a bubble with artificial oxygen pumped in. You know, a brave new world, you know? That's what we're headed towards if we don't take care of her. She's all of our mother, and it's something that I'm just super passionate about. Is I really get frustrated and I don't understand. That's learned behavior, littering and just throwing your trash on the ground and expecting what? Somebody else to clean it up. What if somebody else doesn't clean it up and then it just washes away and it ends up in the ocean or in the lakes or river? No, we don't want that. We live in a beautiful planet. Take a chance to explore it. Even just your own state, your own city, your own country. You know, find the beauty that exists everywhere. When you find that, I think you feel a lot different about just discarding that mask on the ground. You know, think about that. And something I just wanted to leave you guys with and just remind you is that, you know, with all this talk about self-work and reflection and finding, you know, your most authentic self and soul work and the spirit and, you know, all these things that we're conditioned to do, and just thinking about all that, I just wanted to remind you that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, not vice versa. You're a spiritual being. You were created by a divine source, or whatever it is that you believe. And you're on this earth having a human experience. So, you know, figure out what's the purpose of that experience. Why are you here? Why is your soul here on this planet? What are its intentions? Try to remember. In order to remember, you got to look within. So reflect on that for the next week, and I will see you guys next time. Namaste.